So here we go with a quick video about dates. The first thing to understand about dates is we humans have made a mess of them. Dates have three parts. They're not a simple number. We have days which can go to 28 or 30 or 31. We've got a leap year. We've got months that go to 12 and years that go forever. These all have different bases. Months have different number of days. It's very hard to do arithmetic. How many days have you been alive? That's a hard question to answer. So Excel holds dates and times in a certain way that's important to understand. Dates in Excel are held as a single number, not as a month, day, or year. So for example, this is in the stats and dates worksheet. Up here I've got the value 1, and over here I have a 1 as well. But if I format that 1 as a date by selecting short date here, it gets translated into 1/1/1900. That's because Excel holds dates as a count of days since January 1st, 1900. So let's put in my daughter's birthday, for example. That's 12/20/1993. Now, that's the date the way we think of it. And I typed it in with slashes, and Excel recognized that as a date. But look at this cell here. Behind the scenes, this cell is just formatted as a number, and that's 34,323 days. So my daughter was born 34,323 days after January 1st, 1900. The today function, today happens to be, December 8th, 2015. If I put in today, which is the Excel function that returns today's date according to the clock on the computer, I will get 12/8/2015, and here's the integer version of that number. Now, the whole number is just the number of days since 1900, but Excel also uses the fractional part of the number, in this case 0.57372, to be the amount of time since midnight. So 0.5 means I'm doing this a little bit after noon. 0.50 is noon today. So if I put in the now function, which unlike the today function just returns the integer value for the date, but the now function takes you all the way down to the fraction of a second. And let me widen up this column. You can see that Excel has formatted this number as Tuesday, December 8th, 2015. That's because there's a custom format on this cell that has Excel displaying information all the way down to the fraction of a second. And that's what it looks like. There are a whole bunch of different functions for dates and times. So for example, I can do this. I can select date and say I want a date in this form, which shows only the month and the day, or I can ask for something in this form which shows it with a leading 0 on the month. Doesn't matter much for 12. The point is there's a bunch of different ways of displaying dates. Here's the month and just the spelling out the month and so on. There are values for time as well, so I can put in time like that, or I can go into the custom formats and find time values that look like this with an AM PM at the end. Here's a bunch of them up here. Hours, minutes. I can show the seconds like that. I guess I already had that. I can show it in this kind of form for the date and so on. The important thing to understand is if I turn this back to just a general format, that's what's actually in the cell. So there's two different ways of thinking about this. One is the real number that's in the cell, and then the way that Excel displays it for us. So Excel will interpret it and show it in a form that we're familiar with for dates and times. That takes care of the mess of dates that we humans have made. This slide shows you that the fraction of the day shows the time during the day. So 0.25 is 6 a.m. and 0.75 is 6 p.m. and so on. Excel holds dates as numbers because it makes it easy to do date arithmetic. Excel can format any way you want. It's important to understand that how Excel holds a date and how it formats it are two different things. So let's go look at some of these examples for doing date arithmetic. excuse me. Let's calculate the value 10 days from today. So I'm going to say equals today plus 10. So 10 days from now is December 18th. That's easy to figure out. But what if I said what's 45 days from now? Well, that's harder because it's going to take us into the next year. So if I put 45 here, that shows me it's January 22nd, 2016. How about the difference between two dates? So you can do date arithmetic this way by adding. We can also subtract one date from another. So to find out the days between January 1st, 2012 and December 8th, 2015, I simply have to do this. I can take this date and subtract from it the earlier date, and I find out that there's 1,437 days between those two. So it's real easy to do arithmetic on dates, and it all works the way we would like it to. Something that's very hard to do if we're just trying to add to months, days, and years, and we have to take leap years and leap days and all that crud into account. Now, there are a bunch of functions for dates. I'm going to show you a couple of them, but I do expect you to be able to go and look at some of the others. So year frac shows the number of years between two dates as a fraction. So if I do equals year frac, okay, start date, let's take my daughter's birth date, end date, which is now, so I'm going to say today, her birthday's coming up. She is 21.97 years old. Her birthday's on the 20th in a couple of weeks. Another thing you can do is with the date function, if you have a date in its pieces, month, day, year, you can assemble them into an Excel date. So date, point at the year, comma, the month, that's up here, comma, and the day, and you'll get them translated into a date. What it's really doing behind the scenes is turning that into the date serial number. So watch, I'm going to do this to copy it down, and now I'm going to change its format to general, and that happens to be 35,600 is the date serial number for that day. Now the week date, you can find the day of the week. So I go like this, equals weekday, point at the date serial number, and that gives me a 3. That's starting on Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Today is a Wednesday. So it's the third day of the week, starting with Monday. Now, the month. You can extract parts of a date. So here I have the date out to the moment. I can say equals month. And all it will do is pull out the month value from the date. So I'll get a 12 here. Here I can pull out the hour. So I get 13. That's in military time, which is 1,300 hours. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's a series of functions, and if you come up to the function builder here, let's go to a blank cell. Come up to the function builder and select the date time values. You'll be able to see that there's a bunch of other functions built in. In the homework, I'll probably throw one or more of these at you and have you do a little bit of research. So that's the wrap up on dates.